This past Wednesday, we had our sixth negotiation, counting ground rules. We met with management for nearly 7 hours. A frustrating, revealing, and long 7 hours.
This session started with a rapid fire from management of a bunch of proposals. They started off by saying they wanted to clarify language and that they were going to do some housekeeping. Dust off the cobwebs and let's clean up this place. Instead, they just wanted to strip down and take away. I wish I could convey how methodically they made the proposal so casually, like they were going down the street to pick up milk. No recognition of the takeaways of your rights and privileges, just simply items on a grocery list.
Yeah, the casual indifference to deeply impactful proposals was mind scrambling. These include management being able to move staff, your schedules around. If they are short staffed on days, they would be able to move nights to fill a slot. One weekend is better covered than the other, let's just even them out. Need someone to cover nights, slide that day shift person over to nights.
Right.
They won't mind.
Yeah.
That we have been all hired into roles and shifts, areas, is pretty meaningless to them. The nurses of Mercy are mere pawns for Deb and Darlene to move around whenever or wherever they see fit.
Yeah, it's consistent. They see a nurse to be a nurse and that we're all interchangeable. Just another item on their checklist, they want to change when you would be able to call out. They feel that 2 hours is just too hard for them to solve the staffing problems. So they want to change it to 4 hours. So get this, if you're due to come in at 7, you better wake up at 3 and make sure that you and your kids are all healthy and squared away for you to be able to work. Your kids start throwing up after 3, tough luck, you must go to work. Or you wake up at 5 with a migraine, too bad, better hope that Excedrin works. They just reinforce over and over again how little they understand what it's like to show up at 7, ready to go and work for 12 plus hours. Head on straight and prepared for whatever might come your way. They don't care.
This is so frustrating and ridiculous. Of course, it's obvious how little they think of us. They don't consider us as humans with life obstacles or problems. To them, we're a piece of machinery to be on at 7 and off at 7. That we have sick kids, family challenges, or just wake up not feeling good is irrelevant. The message is clear that we are irrelevant to them. This theme continued to repeat throughout the course of the day.
Yeah, they finished this section by trying to change how call time works. They presented it like a clarification, but it's a radical and abusive change. They want the cancel of a call day to count against their ridiculous attendance policy. So essentially, you would be calling out sick if you cancel a call day. Of course, they can cancel you at any time in 4-hour increments if they want. And you have to sit at home on your couch and wait for them to call you and tell you that it's your turn to come in. What they want is a one-sided relationship, people. And I'll be honest with you guys, this upsets me more than it probably should. That they want this to be so one-sided is maddening. If they can cancel you, you must be able to cancel them. If they are not willing to make a commitment to you, why should you be required to make more of a commitment to them?
Yeah. There was a big back and forth about this very situation on Facebook. They don't even think they have to wait till the next contract is organized to try and pull this off on a nurse. She was canceled from 7 to 11. She told the supervisor she would self-cancel the remainder of her shift from 11 to 7. The supervisor told the nurse that would count as a call out and that Darlene was now interpreting things differently. So the nurse sat at home and waited. At 9 p.m., she was canceled for the remainder of the night. She sacrificed her day to sleep and her night for Mercy. She got nothing in return, which is incredibly unfair. We will be grieving this.
Yeah, again, there will certainly be more to come of that particular situation and others like it. On a personal note, as a night nurse who used to pick up plenty of time, there is nothing worse than sleeping all day to be prepared to work only to be canceled. It's a lost day and then a lost night. That they want to take away our rights in this area is just so demeaning of our time. Again, they don't care. They want to make us give all the commitment in the world, but want to show us as little commitment back as possible. If we were describing a personal situation where one party wants to do whatever it wants and expects the other to simply sit at home and wait and take it, you would call that an abusive relationship.
Toxic relationship.
Toxic.
Something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Another highlight or low light is them saying they want to change how they dole out overtime. They don't want us to go into overtime whenever we are over our allotted shift. So if you stay a half hour late on a 12-hour shift, that 30 minutes is paid out as overtime and a half. They want your overtime to start when you hit 40 hours. So if you stay late, straight time till you get to 40. This means for a 36-hour staff member, you have to stay more than 4 hours late each week to qualify for overtime.
Yeah, this is another example of these people who sit behind a desk for a living, tell others how to work and what to do. These administrators have no idea what it's like to enter your 13th or 14th hour. They have no respect for the level of commitment it takes to stay in place because there's no one to relieve you. Or that there was so much work that you have to stay late just to be able to finish. These desk jockeys only know that they can save some money by not thanking you for staying late and paying you your fair share. That often the reason you are late was because management didn't give you enough help in the first place, just as simply more money lining their pockets.
They also want to do away with unsafe staffing reports. They were super dismissive that these would even be necessary, as they allege supervisors are addressing problems and issues in real time. They really don't think most of them are really unsafe. This was a conversation on our monthly staffing meeting where the HR generalists judged most of the 20 some odd forms that you were presenting as really unsafe. Just staff complaining they had to work harder.
Hear that, guys. Your unsafe staffing forms are you complaining that you have to work harder. It just makes my blood boil when I heard this. First off, he wouldn't know what unsafe was. He's not a licensed professional. He's not a nurse working on the floors. But his passive indifference was disgusting. So is the fact that he's the one running that meeting. So about unsafe staffing forms, keep filling them out. There's a great post on the Facebook M&A page about how to fill them out. And if you have any questions, ask your unit rep or more experienced nurses about how they're to be done. Remember, when in doubt, fill one out.
They went into talking about vacations next. This was an area where, yet again, they want to blame you, the nurses of Mercy Hospital, for their inability to manage a schedule. One of the things they brought up is that sometimes newer nurses were not able to get vacation time. They tried to lay blame on the lack of vacation time on the seniority system that the union has in the contract for nurses. But here's the thing. When management clusters too many nursing units together, there isn't enough time to go around. That they want to blame the union for lack of time is absurd.
Yeah, so just to give some context and clarification. By clustering units together, this is what we mean. This year, management combined IMC and IMCB for the summer vacation schedule. That meant the 14 or 15 weeks between Memorial Day and Labor Day suddenly had to be shared between the two departments. This meant that there wasn't enough time to go around. It was management's combining of the units that led to the shortage of time, not the seniority system.
They don't hire enough staff. They cluster too many units together. They don't utilize per diems in a way to shuffle staff, leading to rejected time off slips. That is a management problem, not a union seniority problem.
That's right.
Management purposely wants to pit units against units, departments against departments, and nurses against the union. It's very deliberate. They want us fighting against one another. They never, hear this, they never want you to realize that the problems between us are a direct line result of their careless and lousy policies.
That's right. It's really important, guys. There was more back and forth, but I think you get the picture. Again, they just don't care, which we already know, right? We know that instinctively, that they aren't going to change. But the question remains, what can we do about it? The answer is we're going to stand up and push back. You know, I watched a documentary about John Lewis. Mr. Lewis was a congressman from Georgia. He was a leader in the civil rights movement. He marched with Dr. King. He was also beaten nearly to death on the Edmonds-Pettus Bridge in Alabama during a civil rights march. The opening of the documentary was his words, some of his famous words. When you see something that's not right, not fair, not just, say something, do something, make trouble, make good trouble. Make good trouble. What does that mean? For him, it meant to stand up and speak out. It meant to stand together. It meant not be quietly angry in the corner, but to speak up to others about your anger and get them angry. You are more valuable than they want to treat you. You deserve to get time and a half when you work over 12 grueling hours. If they can cancel your shift, you should be able to cancel that shift too. You shouldn't have to wake up at 3 a.m. to determine if you're able to come to work in 4 hours. You should be able to get more than 3 sick days a year. Martin Luther King Day should be a holiday. Easter and Good Friday should be a holiday in a Catholic hospital. A new nurse shouldn't have to work 6 damn hours to work, a nurse shouldn't have to work 6 damn weeks to earn 12 hours of time off. We should be angry. Frankly, angry isn't a sufficient word to how we've been wronged by our leadership. We need you to be just as angry, though. We need you to be talking. We need people to watch these videos, and we need people to be logging into the Zoom meetings. I'm telling you, we are telling you that we can stand up to the bullies in the schoolyard.
How do we do this? Stand with us. Reach out to us. John Lewis was a great man. His idea of making trouble, good trouble, is all about pushing back against the flow and changing the tide. Not only as an individual, but also, and more importantly, as a movement. Remember last week we talked about the person speaking up is not just the power in his or her voice, but all of the people standing up behind them. That is where collective power comes from.
That's right. We
have seen it work in labor movements, civil rights. We continue to see it in Black Lives Matter and LGBTQ movement. We can't do this alone. We need you to be frustrated and angry and stand up with us and make good trouble.
So there's a hold on negotiations till after the holidays. We're going to be doing a couple short videos talking about specific areas in the contract that we will be referring to later. I do feel like every time we come at you with so much negative stuff, and I know it feels overwhelming and insurmountable, but together we can make a difference. We can stand up and say that this is our house. You are not going to bully us into submission. Remember, we are stronger together. Thanks.
Have a happy Christmas and a safe holiday season.
And let's have a better new year. Thank you.
Thanks.